New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Live from a secure concrete bunker somewhere in Ohio, New Thought Media Network presents Pastor Michael Mangus with Friday's Fireside Chat, spiritual conversation for today. Here he is from the secret radio room, surrounded by thousands of watts, Pastor Michael Mangus.
And welcome everyone to the Friday evening Fireside Chat here on your New Thought Media Network. I am Reverend Michael Mangus. I am broadcasting from the secret radio room, surrounded by thousands, and I mean thousands of watts, in an extremely secure concrete bunker somewhere around Akron, Ohio. That is so top secret that only one person, that's Diego Reyes, my longtime producer, only he knows where it's at. Everyone else, including the Reverend Dr. Robert Brzezinski, he has no clue where the top secret bunker is located, and we are going to keep it that way. He doesn't need to know. But hello there, everyone. Welcome. We have a great show for you this evening. Again, we are live. So if you would like to comment, please feel free to do so. And also, please feel free to interact with us by posting your comments on either Facebook or YouTube. And again, I know some of you are shy out there. I get that. You don't want to comment, but send me an email anyhow. PastorMichaelMangus@gmail.com, PastorMichaelMangus@gmail.com. And let me know you're watching. Give me a few hints, a few topics that you would like me to talk about, and that would be wonderful. That's PastorMichaelMangus@gmail.com. So the purpose of our fireside chat is to get real. Again, we have that kind of image of being around the fireplace and having something warm to drink, either non-alcoholic or alcoholic, and just, again, relaxing and also just having a heart-to-heart talk. And that's what we do here. I want us all to have a new thought about what's going on in the world. And the reason that we do talk about some of the news, we don't talk about all of it, but we talk about some of it, again, to get you thinking and also to create a new thought for you, or asking yourself the question, what is my part in this? Again, that we teach oneness at our centers and also in our teaching. It's all one. So if we're all one, then we have a part in making, again, the world and a world that does work for everyone. Well, we have very special guests in the waiting room this evening. From the brand new show coming up here in March, Girls Behaving Metaphysically, we have Robyn Rice Olmsted and also Dr. Natasha. Dr. Natasha is all the way from Australia, and it's to be aired on Thursday evenings here on the New Thought Media Network. It's going to be a very interesting conversation, getting to know them and finding out what their show is going to be about. Robyn and Dr. Natasha, they'll be our guests here on the Friday evening Fireside Chat in just a few moments. We do have breaking news into the Spiritual News Network. Yes, that is our breaking news. Punxsutawney Phil, the famous groundhog weather watcher, woke up and did not, I'll repeat that, did not see their shadow Friday morning. That's calling for an early spring. So each February 2nd, on Groundhog Day, the members of the Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania Groundhog Club, they make the pilgrimage to Gobbler's Knob, which is Phil's official home. And the group waits for Phil to leave his burrow. And legend has it, if he sees his shadow, 6 more weeks of winter are on the way. And if he doesn't, an early spring will arrive. So anyhow, that's what it's calling for here. Now, Puxatawny Phil is not always right. But it is a very good excuse, though, to get up early on a February morning, go over to the high school, and just stuff your face full of pancakes and sausage. That's the reason you go to Puxatawny, Pennsylvania. It's not to see the groundhog, it's to go eat. So, but again, so 6 weeks till spring. So for some of you, now I know some of you like winter. Okay. I get that. Some of you really like winter, and that's fine. But I would like a little springtime. I think I'm ready for it here. I know now it's time to get into the news here. And we have several news stories that we are covering this evening here. A new CNN poll shows that former President Donald Trump is narrowly ahead of President Joe Biden in what is shaping up to be a close contest nationally. Overall, 49% of the registered voters said that they would back Trump if an election between the two were held today, while 45% support Biden and 5% say that they'll vote for someone else. Neither Biden nor Trump has locked their party's nomination in yet, but this is seemingly the most likely outcome. However, the poll suggests that Trump's last remaining GOP opponent, that's former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, holds a substantial lead over Trump in a hypothetical contest against Biden. So either way, a victory by the leading candidates would leave most of the nation dissatisfied, according to the data. I'm just asking everyone here just to pray for peace and justice and unity and also right result. And if you haven't done so yet, could you please, please, please go and register to vote? Go register to vote, and or go check your registration and go vote. You have more to say in what's going on this year than you think. You are powerful. Your vote is powerful. So make sure now that you go and check on your registration, and please go vote in your primary and also in the general election that is coming up. As we turn now to the Mideast, the main United Nations relief agency in Gaza said it will likely be forced to shut down its operations in the region by the end of February if the funding from nearly 20 countries remains suspended. Several countries decided to halt their funding after Israel accused some of the agency's staffers of their involvement in October 7th attacks. The moves have also raised questions about the fate of nearly 6 million refugees that the relief group does serve. Meanwhile, the U.S. has announced the first round of sanctions under President Biden's new executive order that targets violent Israeli settlers in the West Bank. The new sanctions, which block the settlers' financial assets and also bar them from coming to the U.S., target 4 Israeli nationals. And again, we pray for peace in the Mideast. We know that a peaceful solution is found. Next in the news here. Yes, I know, COVID-19. We've been talking about this for 4 years, but notice now, I only talk about COVID-19 every 6 weeks. instead of every week. A shot of the latest COVID-19 vaccine, it's been shown, can help cut the chances of getting a symptomatic infection by 54%. Early data from the Center for Disease Control suggest. Vaccine manufacturers updated their formulations to target the Omicron variant XBB.1.5, which was the predominant circulating strain for much of 2023. But the new CDC data shows that the latest vaccines are similarly effective against the current the current JN.1 strain, which has been causing most of the COVID-19 infections in the U.S. since late December. During 1 week last month, there were nearly 31,000 COVID-19 hospitalizations in the U.S. Still, though, only 1 in 5 adults and 1 in 9 children have gotten the latest COVID-19 vaccine, the CBC or the CDC does estimate. I read a lot of Ernest Holmes. In fact, daily. And the one thing I can tell you for sure is this. Ernest Holmes called our branch of New Thought science, religious science. And Ernest Holmes always told us that we should be compatible with science and that medical intervention is one of the ways that the divine uses in healing. And if anyone gets on our network, we had a program recently in which the show host had on someone who went on and said that the vaccines were a big hoax. We got on there and we said that is not true. And we also got a notice from YouTube saying, how dare you give out false information? First of all, the vaccines have been scientifically proven to work. And again, most of us here at the New Thought Media Network have received vaccines. Just ask Dr. Robert, Dr. Tracy, Laura, and also Reverend Barbara how many shots that they had to get before they were allowed even into Kenya. So I've said now for 4 years now, and I will continue to say this, please follow the science. And guess what? After 4 years, I can say that the science was right. And again, please go get caught up on your vaccines, unless otherwise told by your doctor. You are not only helping yourself, but also you're really assisting other people. And I really do believe, again, that it is a moral and ethical decision to make. It's not mine to make, though. I can encourage you. However, I'm sharing with you from a clergy standpoint here that, again, especially from religious science, that Ernest Holmes wanted us to follow the science and also to cooperate also with doctors and also medical intervention. All right. Next, here are 2 stories from my home state of Ohio that I want to briefly cover here. Ohio pastor is charged in sheltering homeless people in his church during freezing weather. This pastor in Ohio was arrested for sheltering unhoused people who might otherwise have frozen to death. Outrage spread a couple of Fridays ago about the story about a pastor in Ohio who was arrested and charged with opening his church to homeless people when extreme weather conditions struck his own hometown and it gained national attention. Pastor Chris Avell, who's the pastor of an evangelical church that's called Dad's Place in Bryan, Ohio, pleaded not guilty last Thursday to charges that he broke 18 restrictions in the zoning code when he gave shelter to people who might otherwise have frozen to death. Avell has gained the attention of the Bryan City Zoning Commission last winter when he invited unhoused people to stay in his church to avoid the cold and snow. In November, what happened was his officials told him that Dad's place could no longer house the homeless because it lacks bedrooms. The building is zoned as a central business, and Ohio laws prohibit residential use, including sleeping and eating in the first floor building within the business district. Now, what you don't understand here, and it's been said in the news articles, is that Dad's place is located right next door to the homeless shelter that's in Bryan. Avell told Fox News, he says, many of these people have been rejected by their families and cast aside by their communities. So if the church isn't willing to lay down its life for them, then who will? Again, Dad's place is right next to a homeless shelter. But overcrowding at the facility has led Avell to begin offering space to unhoused people. He says, we have put in things people can use, like a shower and a small ability to do laundry. Ashton Pittman, who's the editor of Mississippi Free Press, says that Avell's story was a rare example in the U.S. of actual religious persecution of a Christian by the state. Avell's attorney, Jeremy Diss, calls the city's prosecution of a pastor unconscionable. Wow. Says the city would rather kick these folks to the curb in the cold rather than allow a church to remain open 24/7 to those who need it most. Avell says he plans to continue housing the homeless population in his church this winter, 2 days after his arraignment, as more cold weather was expected. Dad's place posted on its Facebook page a notice inviting anyone who could use a warm place to walk right in and enjoy the hot coffee, the cocoa, and the soup in our heated building. Stop in to warm up or stay as long as you need. Isn't that interesting? So let me give you a little background. So Bryan, Ohio is a small town of less than 8,000 people in Northwest Ohio. So the pastor at Dad's place saw a ministry need and filled it. Here he was next door to the homeless shelter in his town, and the homeless shelter was experiencing overcrowding. So here you have a critical situation where people could die because there was no more beds at the next door shelter. And there was very little cooperation from the local government to solve it. So what do Bryan, Ohio officials do? Since they are not used to working with, again, larger city problems, that what they did was they arrested the pastor for doing the right thing by keeping people warm, safe, and alive. So as someone who has worked for the government for over 30 years plus, this is my spidey sense, which is that I see local officials covering their assets. I said assets, Robyn. I didn't say the other thing. I said assets. So don't go tell Robert. Covering their assets just in case something happens. So let's say that there was a fire that broke out at Dad's place. Again, there would have been public outrage over the local officials not doing their jobs. This whole situation could have been worked out. I really, truly believe that. The fundraising online has raised over $35,000 that can be used to make the required repairs. However, though, that the church is now in the courts with national religious defense attorneys helping them and also representing the church. The homeless challenge is not going away until society addresses the social and economic reasons for homelessness. Trying to hide the homeless or tell them not to live in certain parts of the city or the country is not going to make the problem go away. We have homeless advocates around here in the Akron area. And also when churches and places of worship get involved, what happens and what is happening is that the leadership of the church is getting hauled into court for violating zoning laws while people could die. So here in Akron, my hometown, our new mayor has given $150,000 to an organization to build homes, tiny homes here in our area. And homelessness is not just for the large cities anymore. So I encourage all of us to be a part of the solution. Wherever you're at, either in the United States or around the world, find out who serves the homeless population in your town and help them out in some form or another. Either volunteer, either give them financial resources, or do something. Again, this is a challenge that all of us can deal with and all of us can help solve. All right. Good deal. Well, hi there. Welcome. This is Friday evening's Fireside Chat here on your New Thought Media Network. I am Reverend Michael. Let's see who's here. Okay. Okay. Brian has a really good comment, and I want to read this. Those in New Thought will believe silly conspiracy theories, whether about COVID or Taylor Swift. Now, are you going to involve Taylor Swift? Or whatever, and do a disservice to the New Thought teachings? Brian, yes. That's one of the reasons why I have my voice, and I use my voice in a prophetic way to talk about these things rather than just go ahead and sweep them under the rug. The reason why there are some ministers that do not talk about this stuff is because it puts their paycheck in jeopardy. I'm not kidding. So the whole idea of us speaking the truth, at least they don't have to agree with us, but at least we give people something to think about, give them a new thought. Yes. Yeah. And now with Taylor Swift, now, between you and me, Brian, she did not come down off an alien spaceship. Okay. I also like what Brian says is just say CYAS, cover your assets. Absolutely. Well, we're going to do a few announcements and then we're going to take a break and then we'll be right back with those girls behaving metaphysically. And that's Robyn and Dr. Natasha, whose program will be debuting here on the New Thought Media Network in March. I would like to remind you that I am parked currently at Summit Center for Spiritual Living. For more information, go to summitcsl.org. There, you will find out more information about our wonderful Sunday morning service at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Yes, I know it's early, but 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. This Sunday, it's going to be a very special Sunday. It's our anniversary Sunday, 24 years ago. we started Summit Center for Spiritual Living at a Presbyterian church in Akron, Ohio. And we have kept going ever since then. So this Sunday, we are having a very special guest speaker, and my good friend, the Reverend Jeff Radcliffe, will be speaking from his home via Zoom. So for more information, please go to our website. Go to summitcsl.org. There you can get the Zoom number and also the Zoom password to get into the rooms. Join us this Sunday. If you do not have a home community, please join us. It's a whole lot of fun. We have probably one of the better services in New Thought because we balance the 3 M's. And that's music, meditation, and message. summitcsl.org. And thank you so very much. Okay. While the cat is away, the mice must not play. They must fundraise. So Dr. Robert and Laura, and also several other of our hosts here at the New Thought Media Network are in Kenya for a Centers for Spiritual Living Leadership Conference. And so I am taking this opportunity while I have control of the reins, which doesn't mean very much, but I am asking everyone to please consider giving a very special donation during this time. I want to thank those of you who do give on a regular basis. You are really making a huge difference in the world. And I'm asking at this time if everyone could please give a very special one-time gift. The reason being is that the beginning of the year, we have on our docket, we have on our planning board many new programs, and also we have an equipment list that we are needing for this summer so that we can go and stream the major New Thought organization conferences that mostly will be held at Unity Village this year. And we do it at a fraction of the cost of what they would have to spend if they went with a commercial organization. We do it probably the most cost-effective way that we can. And you help us with that. So go to ntmedia.org/donate. Again, give a very special one-time gift, or do like I do and a lot of our hosts do. We go ahead and we give a monthly gift. Sustaining gifts really help us, again, to pay bills and also to set budgets. Again, ntmedia.org/donate. All right. Time to take a break, and then we will be right back. This is a Friday evening fireside chat here on your New Thought Media Network.
It was a treat. It was a bonding. It was a celebration of men. It was a celebration of men who want to deepen in their spiritual awareness of one another, of themselves.
Welcome. We are a brotherhood of spiritually minded and open-hearted positive men. We invite you to join us.
And I came in knowing one person, I left knowing all of the group. And I feel like I came in knowing meeting strangers, but knowing and leaving brothers.
Come experience the New Thought Men's Gathering, Foundations 2024. Friday, March 15th through Sunday, March 17th. With Reverend Robert Brzezinski, Reverend Patrick Creelman, Reverend Eamon Duffy, and special guest musician Jamie Lula. In Vernonia, Oregon, at Camp Cedar Ridge. Learn more and register at www.newthoughtmen's.community.
The views and opinions expressed by Pastor Michael Mangus are generally right. However, they are his own and do not reflect the views and opinions of New Thought Media Network, Centers for Spiritual Living, or any other person living or dead. As they say in the 12-Step Recovery Program, take what you like and leave the rest. Here again is Pastor Michael.
And after patiently waiting for me in the green and blue rooms, we have Robyn Rice Olmsted and also Dr. Natasha. They are the host of the brand new program here on the New Thought Media Network called Girls Behaving Metaphysically, which will premiere in March. And guess who volunteered to produce their program? Ladies, if you would unmute, please. Please unmute. All right, there you go. All right. Robyn, now hold it. We have to clear up something. The one comment said that there's a conspiracy theory around Taylor Swift. Now, you told me that Taylor Swift came down from an alien planet. That's what you told me, Robyn Rice Olmsted.
You are such a goofball. I did not tell you that. I so did not tell you that. I am an undercover Swiftie. I would not tell you that.
Okay, real good. Yeah, listen.
But there are those things that say she's in a coven and she's a witch, and there's a whole thing about the number 13. It's her favorite number, and like all these signs point to the number 13. It's the 13th.
Is that the reason why she had all the sold out concerts and stadiums and all that stuff this year? Because of all that.
No doubt.
Okay.
Being the fascinating figure that she is, yes.
Folks, we're kidding, okay? So don't be sending a bunch of stuff to Reverend Robert, all right? I'd appreciate that. Dr. Natasha is coming to us from the very warm land down under in Australia. Dr. Natasha, what is the temperature down there in Fahrenheit?
Oh, in Fahrenheit, it's probably 90 degrees right now. It's still morning, so it's going to get hotter. Yeah.
Wow. So for those of you who are not familiar, again, with the equator, is that our friends under the equator, they are experiencing now warmer temperatures now, and then during the summertime, then it'll switch around. So, ladies, what brought you together to do this show, and how did the two of you meet?
Robyn, you want to start?
Well, I'll talk about how we came up with the show. You can talk about how we met if you want. What happened was I was doing this show, Girls Behaving Metaphysically, a couple of years ago with my friend Samaya, who we originated it. And in the beginning, I always knew Natasha should be a part of it. And so we made her a correspondent. We had global correspondents. So we had Laura Topper in the UK, and we had Natasha in Australia, and someone else on the East Coast. And but it's really a show about just that everything's metaphysical. That there's no poo-pooing anything, because it's all metaphysical. So that's how we started it, just with the concept. I think at the time we were just tired as practitioners of people saying to us, but that's not spiritual, or isn't that's how can that be spiritual, or don't say that in a church, or all of those things. And we were like, yeah, just not our story anymore. So we decided to do a show about how all things are metaphysical.
So give an example of that. What have people told you that's not spiritual?
Well, generally the topic of sex is not spiritual in a church. You don't talk about it at church. It's quote unquote church, right? You don't. Well, do you, Pastor Michael? This could get you a lot of congregants. So
I know.
Here's your answer.
Or get me thrown out too. No, I always remember what Louise Hay says. She says that you could give a graphic talk on sex, but when you talk about, and not raise an eyebrow, but if you go ahead and you talk about people's money, then they get upset. So I'm, as far as sexuality goes, people are not familiar with, again, sacred sexuality in many traditions. So I'm really kind of I don't know, kind of blown away that anybody would just say, well, why shouldn't we talk about? I mean, sex is mentioned in all the major scriptures and all the major religions. Why wouldn't we talk about it?
Well, I don't think anyone's really going back to scripture. I think it's just things we've been taught not to say it in public, other things. I think when things are happening in someone's life that appear negative, it's not godly, kind of thing. There's that attitude. I don't know. Can you articulate it any better, Dr. Natasha?
No, I think you're articulating it just fine. I think that's, I think much of what we are being pulled to come to terms with in the world globally is sort of forcing us to be able to hold things simultaneously as true. And I think, this is like, I remember learning from probably in my class with you. I'm sorry, I don't know how to turn this off. My screen does this thing when I make certain hand gestures. It's the artificial intelligence in Apple, and I don't know what to do about it. So I'm so sorry.
Well, we like the fireworks display, so that's fun. Go ahead.
When you're talking about sex, right? Yes, there's no place that God is not. I can get that. That's really hard to remember in the midst of suffering, and yet it's absolutely true. And again, I just feel like we're all being called to hold paradox more consciously, more honestly, more fully. So yeah, exactly. I was like, of course, spirituality is supposed to be fun. Spirituality is, like, am I the only one when I meditate, like before I can reach that point of stillness, I have really fun shit happening in my head? Like, is it just me? And I think all of that's creation. All of that is the divine. So anyways.
And I think fun is a great word, because people seem to tend to different, if it's spiritual, it shouldn't be fun like this. There's that little bit of delineation in that. We are all about the fun.
And
Exactly.
I think that still, and again, even in the 21st century, I still see that the messages of women being weaker than men, of messages of disempowerment of women. Again, in this country, there's been an attack on women for abortion rights and other things that are going on in this country. Still in the United States, we still have men are still paid more than women. So how do we in the metaphysical community, how do we address some of these issues?
Am I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so I'm a feminist, unapologetic feminist, unapologetically feminine, and I love it. And I think the divine feminine is like a sorely missing piece, like across practices of spirituality, except those that make it very forth, like just say it forthright, right? Mother, Father, God, or whatever. But there's this old feminist saying that the personal is political. And what I like to add to that is the personal is political and it's all spiritual. And so politics, the political, that is about power, right? We see how this stuff plays out in our personal life, these relationships of power. So the personal is political, but then it's all spiritual. So of course, we're going to see that in our spiritual communities. We're going to see the inequities and the injustices play out unconsciously. So I think the thing that we all have to do is find a way to remain conscious and not be afraid that this is part of what we are, that we have to grapple with if we're going to evolve consciously. And I think that that's what this point in our evolution as a species is about. It's about evolving consciously. And so it's like we don't shy away from talking about politics. We don't shy away from talking about the pastor who was arrested for helping homeless people. We don't shy away from topics like abortion. And no, we dive right in and we try to find where is God in this. And we try to find out where can we create equity in this? So equity in our homes, right? The personal. So let's look at how our homes are organized, right? Do we practice equality and equity in our homes? Do we practice it in our churches, in our synagogues, in our temples? And if we're not, let's just take an honest look at that. Instead of feeling like, we're going to rock the boat. Yeah, we'll rock the boat, but that's okay. We have to rock the boat.
So, Robyn, what do you think about this?
Well, I agree with everything she said. I knew she would say it passionately, and no, really. And I mean, the only thing I would add is, that's what the boat was built for, was to be rocked, and so there's no, I mean, I think it's our job. I should speak from the I think it's my job, as a person who I like to think is awake a lot of the time and aware, to consciously anchor those things and to remember those things and to not get sucked into the appearance of things. And I know that sounds like kind of woo-woo, and I think that's part of what we will talk about on the show too, because it's really beyond the woo-woo. It's understanding the woo-woo, I mean, I know it's not just words. It's, where we stand. So, yeah.
Well, again, I think there's an easy way, especially at your center, to find out whether, what are you emphasizing at your centers? Take a look at your stage on Sunday mornings. Is it just the male pastor? Are there other people up there? Other people up there also of color? Different nationalities. Yeah, I think that's something I was aware of in ministerial training, is just take a look at who you have up there on Sunday mornings and what are you emphasizing? Is it always the pastor talking?
Right.
Do you have other people up there that are sharing their spirituality? So talk to us about some of the topics that you're going to have on the program.
Well, I know we're going to talk about Taylor Swift.
We're going to talk about, and I know we're going to talk about sex.
and hopefully Beyonce, because she's like my spirit twin.
Your spirit guide.
Spirit guide, okay.
Well, we're going to talk about that. I mean, we may talk also about just some of those things we hear in New Thought all the time. But if you're new and you hear, oh, it's all God, it's all good all the time, we're going to really break it down and really talk about what that means. We're going to try to dive deep into some of the things that some of the questions that people have. We're also going to have a segment, Michael Mangus, which is right now going to be a surprise to you, because our concept was we were going to have a spin the wheel where we spun the wheel every week, and then whatever topic it landed on, we do a segment on that. But we have now decided that until we really figure out the wheel, that it may be producer's choice. So we have categories, and
okay.
So it's like explaining the metaphysics of something in pop culture.
Okay.
What else? We have
the
peace report. Things that make you go, We have spiritual evolvement and or old age. Is it spiritual evolvement or old age? Like, do you ever have those topics that come up and you think like, oh wow, I really get this now because I'm wiser and I've lived longer, or am I spiritually evolved? So
okay,
we're gonna break it down to that. Spiritual evolvement. Well, we also said spiritual involvement, old age, or BS.
Or what now?
Or BS.
Or BS.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
am I going to get a note from legal department of New Thought Media Network about this stuff? Since I'm the producer.
You're safe. We're safe.
Okay.
Yeah. What else? I think that's it. We talked about from the heart, but anyway, there's going to be several categories on a wheel that you can shake in a jar and pull one out, or spin yourself, or whatever we decide to do. And we'll let you pick it until we can, or we'll let the audience pick it, or whatever. We'll figure it out.
We can just put them all in a jar and then
shake it.
And I can pull one or something, or you guys can pull one. I'd rather you guys make the decision, but that's okay. We'll work.
We're gonna be prepared to talk about any of them. So.
Oh, okay. Now, programming has told me that you will be doing on-air drinking of alcoholic beverages. Is this true or not?
There will be contests for the audience to decide what is in our glasses. They'll have to be the judge. We're not going to tell you.
Is it water?
Or is it
vodka?
Is it vodka?
Or is it vodka?
We're not going to tell you straight off the bat. We may have a fancy glass filled with, nothing.
Nothing.
Iced tea.
Yeah, iced teas. So it's a mystery. It's all a mystery. And I'll tell you, in alignment with the conspiracy theories in Taylor Swift, I think we'll just have to shake it off. That's what we'll shake it off.
Yeah, that's a Taylor Swift song. Just shake it off. Shake it off. Yeah. So yes. So I have my coffee mug now. My Diana bought this for me for Christmas, and it said "Hello Faith, Hello Coffee," but it said something that is not theologically correct in the copy. It says "Pray and then coffee." That is not theologically correct. It is coffee, then pray. Okay? Because I'm in a much better mood with the divine when I have my coffee first, and then the divine and I can talk.
But Michael, how can that be? How can that be if every thought is a prayer?
Yeah.
When you wake up and you want coffee.
Yeah.
You've already prayed.
Well, now there are some people that say that when they do a mindfulness meditation with their coffee, in which that they are mindful of the aroma, the steam coming off their coffee. They mindfully take a sip of their coffee, put it down. So that's their meditation. That's my kind of meditation. I really like that. So,
well, we may have to do that with our beverages.
Well, listen, again, it's programming has cleared it. Now, legal has not yet. So we're still working on that. But I think that they will, because we are an international broadcast, both from the San Diego, Carlsbad area, and also down in Australia. I think that we'll be able to do that.
Oh, drinking is a religion in Australia. Like, I don't think it's an issue at all here. Anyway, yeah. Speaking of Australia, some of my friends who tried to sign on to newthoughtmedia.org, they can't get in. And
Okay.
It seems to be because we're in Australia. So
no,
yeah.
So tell all your friends to go on the New Thought Media Network Facebook page, or to go on to the YouTube page, because there we are broadcasting right now. So yeah, and that's what I've been doing here for the past week, is I've been working on all the technical stuff that goes on. You never realize all the stuff that goes on until the boss leaves the country. And then you end up having to make decisions, or to fix the wires and all that stuff. So how did you, we have a few more minutes. So Dr. Natasha, how did you get involved in New Thought, metaphysics? How your background is in psychology and other.
So my background actually, so I'm a multi-hyphenated is what I've learned. So my background is cultural anthropology. So that's what my PhD is in. But then I went and I got a clinical master's degree in social work. And so that's why I practice therapy. But regards to New Thought, I have been this long suffering, I want to be a practitioner like forever, but I'm always moving around, and I'll be 48 this year. So back when I was really like wanting to be a practitioner, nothing was online yet. But when classes did go online, that's how I met Robyn. Robyn was my TA for a class, and we just sort of really, really connected. But I got involved with New Thought, I think back in 2005, because I'm from New Orleans. And so I remember it was after Hurricane Katrina. I was on a flight we were going to a conference, and I was listening to something by Dr. Beckwith, and my friend was like, oh, me too. And then she was like, oh, I used to go to the Church of Religious Science in the Bay Area. And anyways, and then everything just sort of happened from there. So I would say I've been involved with New Thought since about 2005.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been trying to be a practitioner since about 2006.
May I say something right here? First of all, is that you are a practitioner, whether you're licensed or not.
Robyn has shared this with me over and over and over again. But I am one of these people who really need formal training. I love it. I'm a lifelong learner. Like, I'm never going to be learning something. And so I love classrooms. It's weird. I'm strange. But yes, you're right.
Everyone,
Yes,
again,
that's a Robyn.
Holmes, and again, it's interesting. Holmes never taught ministers; he taught practitioners. So again, with the emphasis on again on ministerial training, but what I think what's really wonderful about the technology now is that the classes online are wonderful. I used to be one of those people that said, well, we can't train practitioners or we can't do online classes until I met some of the individuals who were in those classes. And they were marvelous practitioners, wonderful consciousness, very aware. And so I think that, and we're going to also offer classes also on the New Thought Media Network too. So those of you out there who are wondering about classes, we can teach through practitioner. We are allowed to teach through practitioner training from our with our agreement with home office. So we're working on some classes here. So, but
Awesome.
again, I think there's the only reason you get the license, I think, is because that, again, to be able to work with others. And that Holmes, again, someone who reads Ernest Holmes daily, that he always wanted individuals to know that, again, that everyone's a practitioner who uses the science of mind consciously. So we're all practitioners. So Robyn is right, and she usually is right. Oh, Robyn.
Sure.
That's what Gil told me.
Yeah. Well, I would say, I'm not sure I agree with you that the reason to get a license is if we want to work with people, but
Okay.
But we don't really have time. So,
well, no, we have a couple minutes. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I don't think that's it. I think it's a process. I think it's a process of embodying and letting go and really learning to stand in the truth. I mean, like, that's the reason I feel like I don't need to become a minister, because I feel like everything I do, I can do as a practitioner that a minister could do. And so the reason I would go to be a minister is for the lifelong learning piece, to just continue to learn more things. But right. I think practitioner training is really an opening and a pathway where your life changes. I mean, you let go of some things and I think you clear the way to be the practitioner or minister that you are to become.
Yes. Well, it gives the mind something to do while the spirit develops. So.
Yeah.
And guess what?
We're out of time.
We're out of time. That's right. So the show is called Girls Behaving Metaphysically. It will debut here on the New Thought Media Network. We have to clear it with programming, but we are shooting for March 5th. And the time is TBA, to be announced. We are still working on the time with programming. So,
but whatever time it is, it'll be happy hour.
That's right.
So bring, it's 5:00 somewhere, isn't it?
Global happy hour.
And you know that the reason why our hospitality room at conferences, at CSL conferences, when Dr. Robert's there, you know why they're extremely popular.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. He does mix a mean drink.
He believes in happy hour.
He does believe in happy hour.
Putting the spirit in spiritual.
Yes.
That's us.
Oh, we have a good time when we go to conferences. Thank you so very much, Dr. Natasha, and also Robyn Rice Olmsted, of which I produce her program, her and her husband's program on Wednesday afternoons, called Rock and the Love. Yeah. That is, listen, I get my week of laughs just watching the two of you interact. It is so funny. So, Dr. Natasha, tell all your friends now that, again, that they can watch the replay
Will do.
on YouTube. So thank you, ladies, very much. It's I consider it an honor to be working with you, and we will be talking more and start on March 5th then.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very, very much. Okay. And as I get back into the frame, hi there. So we're done. And again, I'd like to remind you again, thank you so very much for joining us this evening here on the Fireside Chat. And again, if you'd like to get in contact with me during the weekend, again, Pastor Michael Mangus at gmail.com, Pastor Michael Mangus at gmail.com. From all of us here at the New Thought Media Network, Reverend Robert included, and also all of our show hosts, I am Reverend Michael Mangus. I'm going to wish you a very pleasant good night, and also see you next week. I know.
Thanks for joining us this evening for Friday's Fireside Chat with Pastor Michael Mangus. Join us again next week at 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain for more spiritual conversations for today. For more information and replays of past shows, please visit the New Thought Radio and Media Network's Facebook page. Until next week, may God bless you richly and abundantly.